It looks like I got off on the wrong track, forgot to do my video and sound. So that's the only stumble I'll make for the entire year. How about that? Welcome, welcome. We're so glad you joined us. And, I always have to thank our team, Tom Roth with our CTSI, Courtney Hayes with our Pepper Center on Aging, and Audrey Bell Farrow with our Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And most of all, we always want to thank you, because as we always say, if you weren't here, there wouldn't be anything for us to do on the second Tuesday of every month. We have got a jam-packed program for you tonight, so we're just going to get started. We have dear friends who have supported us in our work for so long, and we love supporting them. It would be Stephanie Tyson and Vivian Joyner, the co-owners of Sweet Potatoes Restaurant. And Chef Stephanie is going to be showing us how to make her dirty rice. But one thing that's neat to know, she is a two-time James Beard semifinalist in the Southeastern Chef Division. So that is no small feat. So with that said, let's welcome Chef Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Tyson. I'm the chef and co-owner of Sweet Potatoes Restaurant and Miss Ora's Kitchen in Winston-Salem. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to do a dirty rice salad. Now, I know we know that dirty rice is like kind of a Louisiana thing with rice and chicken livers and sausage, but this is actually a really healthy salad. So we're going to start with what you want to first do is cook brown rice. So we're going to use brown rice in this dish. So we're going to cook that and let it cool down. So I've got about 2 cups. It's going to make a lot. It's going to make like 8 cups of rice. So this is a big dish. And then once you've got this done, the only cooking item left is our Trinity. Now, I don't know if any of you know what a Trinity is. A Trinity is Southern God. It's green onions, celery, and onions. So we're going to do about 4 cups of that. We're going to cook that. You don't have to do that. That's just what we do. Now I got a lot of spices here. I've got allspice, cumin, coriander, cayenne, garlic, and oregano. So this is a really spicy dish. Or you can make it as spicy or as not spicy as you want by adding a little bit less cayenne pepper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook all these spices with my Trinity. I'm just going to let that cook until the vegetables get soft. And you're going to add the garlic last. Now, while that's cooking, what we're going to do is this dish has really good flavors. So we've got some pecans, which you can use any kind of nut that you want. Pecans is because we always have pecans here and it's very southern, but you can use almonds or walnuts in this. So we're going to add this to our rice. That's a cup of pecans and craisins. Okay, so I don't like raisins at all. So I use craisins, but if you like raisins, you can use raisins. I would use the white raisins. It looks a lot better. So add that to that. We're going to chop up a little bit of parsley. Add that. Green onions. Just the green part, actually. This dish has a lot of really good healthy stuff in it, like the cranberries and and the pecans and mushrooms. So we're going to add mushrooms to this. I'm going to break it up a little bit. Okay. So once our vegetables are soft, it's about like 5-6 minutes, something like that. While that's doing, this actually has a vinaigrette, and this is Texas Pete vinaigrette, which we have Dijon mustard, honey, Texas Pete, or your favorite hot sauce, which should be Texas Pete, and so slowly add your oil to this. So it's nice and emulsified here. So it's nice and... Then we're going to turn... Now this should be cold enough to cool all these vegetables off. So we're going to toss this together. It's nice and the cold rice is cooling off the vegetables. Okay. And then we're going to pour our vinaigrette over that. Now, you can make this again as spicy or not as spicy as you want. The flavor it's all about flavor in this dish. And a little salt and pepper to finish it with. Now, this is actually good on its own, but I actually like to do this with grilled chicken or shrimp. And I had some chicken, so we'll just add a little bit of grilled chicken to it. And this is like an entree. It really is. I actually like it with shrimp also. We've done this at the restaurant up until recently, and it's one of our more popular vegan dishes. It's actually vegan until you put the chicken on it. So it's healthy. This is a great dish for entertaining. It really is. So if you like dirty rice, I think you'll like this. It's a healthier version of the dirty rice. Come to the restaurant. We are at 607 North Trade Street. We've combined a Miss Orr's Kitchen. If you like pan-fried chicken, come see us. It's the best chicken in town. We will feed you and entertain you if you come and see us. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. At Sweet Potatoes, I'm sorry. At Sweet Potatoes and Miss Orr's Kitchen. Thank you.
You know, it's so funny. One of the hardest things is to remind chefs to promote their restaurant. They're so busy cooking and sharing their recipe that it really is that you have to prompt them sometimes to say, remember to promote the restaurant. So anyway, it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I always thank them thank them so much for their support and for participating with us, because they are good friends and we just love them. So now we're going to take a turn around downtown, and we're going to wander over to Bookmarks. That's actually, yes, it is a nonprofit bookseller store, but it's so much more. And Beth Sufer Bus is going to give us a tour and show us why Bookmarks is such a special place in Winston-Salem.
Thanks, Deb, and welcome, AgingWell. We're so excited to welcome you here to Bookmarks today. Come on in and I'll show you around. I'm excited you're here at Bookmarks today. If this is your first time hearing about Bookmarks, I want to tell you a little bit about us. We're a literary arts nonprofit. Our mission is to cultivate community by bringing together readers of all ages with books and authors who educate, challenge, inspire, and entertain. When you come to Bookmarks, yes, you're coming to our nonprofit independent bookstore, but you're also interacting with us as a nonprofit and helping to support and cultivate that mission. A little bit about Bookmarks. We started in 2004 as a nonprofit. Originally, the nonprofit was a project of the Junior League, so they had an idea to have a book festival. Our first festival was in 2004. Since then, we have added an Authors in Schools program and year-round programming. In 2016, we started to realize that Bookmarks needed a home for the literary arts. So people wanted somewhere to come to buy books, to come to events, and really have a gathering space, which is why we started Bookmarks. We opened in July of 2017, the bookstore. And as you can see from our tour today, a lot of what we have incorporated into this space is about our community. So I'd like to take you on a little tour and show you what it's like when you come visit us at 634 West 4th Street in downtown Winston-Salem. When you come in, you'll be greeted right here by our booksellers, who are in the back setting up for the day. But you'll see right here we have information about our upcoming events at Bookmarks. We do all sorts of events at Bookmarks year-round. So we have book clubs, we have series like our Murder and Margaritas series, we have a Behind the Book nonfiction series, we have a few virtual events, we have large offsite events, and a lot of the events we have are free events held right here in the bookstore. So you can always come in, pick up a calendar, and see what's coming. What we're really excited about coming up is our 12th annual Movable Feast weekend. So Saturday, January 27th, we will feature 24 authors. This is a once-a-year opportunity. You'll get to hear from 24 authors. They'll each read 2 paragraphs from their current book. 2 paragraphs, you're thinking, that is not a lot. It is fascinating to know and see what you can learn just from 2 minutes of speaking. So you'll hear from all the authors read, and then after that event, you will get to meet the authors, and we'll have a dessert and wine reception at the same time. So you get to hear from the authors, have a little snack, buy books, get your books signed, and ask the authors questions. It's a great way to interact with other readers and get a jump start on your reading for the year, because you get to see everything from mystery to nonfiction to biography to cookbook authors, and it really is a great time. A few other events we have coming up in the new year. We are featuring Dr. Julie Schwartz-Gottman and Dr. John Gottman in conversation with Dr. Brene Brown. And this is about their book, Fight Right. This is going to be a virtual book launch. So Bookmarks was one of 4 stores in the country chosen to host this event by Penguin Random House. The ticket includes a copy of the book, and you'll get to log in through Zoom and hear the Gottmans in conversation with Dr. Brown on January 21st. It's a 1-hour event, and it's something that even if you can't make it that night, it'll be saved so you can watch it or rewatch it for the next couple weeks after that event. And we'll talk a little bit later about a few more things I think you'll enjoy coming up at Bookmarks. I know it's hard to see all the details and all the sign-up links on your screen right now, so I'm really grateful that Deb's going to be sending you a follow-up email that's going to have links to register for the event, our events calendar, and a link where you can sign up to get the Bookmarks newsletter, so you're the first to know about everything that's coming up here at Bookmarks. This is our book club wall at Bookmarks. Book clubs are a really important part of what we do at Bookmarks. Personally, it's a way that I got involved with the community. I moved to Winston-Salem in 2007, and I started volunteering with Bookmarks in 2012. Shortly after that, I joined my first book club, and I was amazed at how quickly I made friends from that experience. gave us something to talk about, even though I wasn't a part of the group. By joining the group and connecting over the power of books, it really made me start to feel like this was a part of my community. And so one of the things up front at Bookmarks you're going to see on both sides of our doors are our book club features. And these are features from book clubs throughout our community. So you can come in and see what books are being read by book clubs throughout Winston-Salem and beyond, which is a great way to get book recommendations. I always look to see what everybody's reading. And you can see the book clubs that Bookmarks hosts. We have our Bookmarks Book Club, which meets the first Monday of every month. We have our LGBTQ plus book club, which we host with Pride Winston-Salem. That's on the third Sunday of every month. And then the Well-Read Black Girl Book Club, which is held the last Wednesday of every month. Those meet here at Bookmarks, and they're free and open to the public to join. There are also a few other book clubs in our community that are free and open to the public, so you can visit our book club website, which Deb will share with you, and see about which groups might be open to having new members, and find a group that really helps you connect with readers like you. If you're interested in hosting a book club, we love to meet with you. We love to suggest suggestions for your book club. There's a whole page on our website where you can register your book club, and your book club will get a discount if you purchase your books at Bookmarks. When you purchase books at Bookmarks, we are grateful as an independent bookstore, but we're grateful as a nonprofit, because every time you buy a book at Bookmarks, you're helping to support the mission of our nonprofit. We use that money to send authors to visit students in schools. We have a summer Book with Purpose program that's connected around one topic for the entire community. We bring students here to Bookmarks, and we have field trips where they get to hear what it's like to work in a bookstore, hear about the book industry. They get to pick out books to take home and share with their family, and pick out books for their schools. We donate books to a wide variety of groups throughout our community, and there's just a lot of different things that purchase does. So we're always grateful for your support, and I want you to know that every time you support us, you're supporting our entire community. This is our gift wall at Bookmarks, and the gift wall is going to have everything from postcards and note cards to journals to puzzles. One of the really unique things about Bookmarks is everything we carry has to do with books, or it has to do with writing. And so if you're looking for a gift for a reader or for a writer or for yourself, this is my favorite way to treat myself. This is where I come to. I buy a book, and then I try to find something that goes with it. I've really gotten into postcards this year because it's a quick way to send a note to a friend or to a family member who's not here in the community and just say, I'm thinking about you, but you don't have that long, drawn-out pressure of a letter. And then I really, really love these 5-year journals and memory books. So I just started a new one in January myself. There's a different section for each year. So you can see as you fill it out, here's what I did on January 7th this year. And when you go back to fill it out next year, you can see what you did the previous year. It's something that I didn't know about until I worked at Bookmarks, and I've really enjoyed wrapping up my day with the journal. We also have, if you look right here next to us, our friends at Footnote. Footnote is owned by Foothills Brewing. This is our coffee shop and cocktails. I love it because here at Bookmarks we know books, and we know authors, and we know readers, but we do not know coffee. We know readers like coffee, though. So when our friends at Footnote opened up, we thought this is the perfect neighbor to have, because you can go next door, you can get a coffee, you can get your favorite beer brewed by Foothills, you can get a cocktail, a glass of wine, you can bring it over here and you can have a conversation, you can work at our bar and do some work, you can browse around and shop with your coffee. So it's a really great way to start your day or end your day with Bookmarks and Footnote. So right now we're in the middle of the fiction section at Bookmarks, one of my favorite places to read. But what's also cool is this is our event stage. So everything that was designed in the store was designed to accommodate events and designed to give us the maximum space for people to join us. Fun fact, our architect lives in New York City, Glenn Falk, but he actually was raised in Winston-Salem. So there's a lot of connections to the community and was able to use that small space mindset with Bookmarks as a community and really design this beautiful space to us. So we have to give a shout out to Glenn. Our bookshelves in the fiction section are on wheels. So when you come in for an event, you won't see the shelves here. They'll all be wheeled to the side. We'll have chairs set up here, and we'll be here at our event stage. The event stage, we have AV, we have a podium, so authors are always microphoned to make it easy for everyone in the store to hear. We set up specifically for an event, so sometimes we're going to have a small, intimate event of 30 people. Sometimes we'll have huge events with 110 people, and it'll be standing room only. Events are a big part of my job as the program director at Bookmarks, and really one of my favorite things. I love an event day because I think there's an energy to coming to a Bookmarks event that carries with you for days after the event. You have come, you've gotten to hear somebody speak about either something you love. Maybe it's your favorite author and you finally get to hear them, you finally get to meet them. Maybe it's a topic you're really interested in. Like we're hosting Kate Quinn and Janie Chang, and they're writing this beautiful historical fiction novel about the San Francisco earthquake and the palace at Versailles and how these three women's lives interact. Maybe it's something you know nothing about, but you're like, hey, it's February, it's cold, I want to get out, but I want to go somewhere cozy. I'm going to go to Bookmarks and I'm going to learn all about a new topic. The sky is the limit with events, and I think it's a great way to not only get out, start thinking about things and new things, but also to meet people. I love it meeting a brand new first-time person at Bookmarks. I'm going to prepare you. When you come to an event, we say, whose first time is it at Bookmarks? And we all look around because we want to make sure that we meet you, that we welcome you, but then we know when you come back that you're part of the Bookmarks family. It never fails that we have somebody who's new, you come in, and I say, you're going to go away with two friends because you're going to sit down and the person on both sides of you is going to welcome you and make you feel like a big part of the Bookmarks community. And by coming to events, you are helping us cultivate community and meet our mission. So this is our young adult section at Bookmarks, and I wanted to specifically point this out because I think sometimes, at least for me, shopping for teens can be a challenge. Or shopping for somebody who reads something completely different. Maybe you don't read mystery thrillers, but you know that your son or daughter reads them and you want to send one to them. Maybe you don't read picture books, which we're going to look at, but somebody can give recommendations. Our booksellers have superpowers, and their superpowers are the perfect recommendation. So when you come in, you'll notice that a lot of our books have these purple recommendations underneath them. We call them shelf talkers. All it is a way for us to share a little bit about the book from the shelf. And you'll start to learn as you read the shelf talkers, maybe booksellers that you identify with, and you say, oh, well, I really like what Kat recommends. I'm going to look for Kat's shelf talkers. Or maybe the opposite. I've never read something that Caleb's recommended, so let me go look for one of Caleb's shelf talkers. Also, anytime you come to Bookmarks, feel free to grab a bookseller and ask for help or recommendations. It's something that we love to do, sending you home with the perfect book, and it really is a superpower, I think. Okay, we're here in the kids section at Bookmarks with two of our friends. This is Daisy the Dragon and Carl the Kraken. They're our mascots. Kiddos love to watch out for Daisy and Carl and see where they are. So sometimes Daisy will be peering out into the garden as you come up from the parking lot. You can see her waiting for you. We have Carl will sometimes be on the shelves, or sometimes they cause chaos too. You never know what you're going to see when you come back here. But we have a beautiful kids section to just spend time in. We have these bleachers here so you can come in with a young one in your life, sit and read a story. We do have family engagement opportunities once a month. Once it warms back up, we'll start back in February. But that is a chance not just to have a story time, but it's story time elevated. So to put the phones away, to do the activities and crafts, maybe we're building with blocks or we're making friendship bracelets. That's something for the whole family to enjoy. Those are on Saturday mornings once a month. We have kids activities back here. You can see we've got letters and numbers and all sorts of things. We want kids to just enjoy themselves and spend time here, browse the picture books. Behind me, we have middle grade books. We have graphic novels. I know graphic novels are not something when I was growing up that were a big hit. I can't tell you a graphic novel that I read when I was growing up, but kids now, my nieces and nephews, love graphic novels. And so it's really been an interesting way to learn along with them and to talk about the power of books through not just words, but also pictures and images. Okay. So we are here in self-help and parenting. This whole section Down this side of the store is nonfictions, all different things you can read about. We have religion, we have psychology, we have sociology, we have parenting and self-help. I love self-help. This is an area I like to read in. A few books that stood out as we were looking through the section: Soul Boom, Why We Need a Spiritual Revolution. You may know Rainn Wilson from The Office. What you may not know is that he's written this beautiful book about spirituality and challenging times and challenging worlds. Just a book I think you can return back to and really spend time with every chapter. I wanted to read it right there, just opening it up. We also have Joyful by Ingrid Fettel-Lee. This is a book that I think reigns so true after the pandemic. So it's the surprising power of ordinary things to create extraordinary happiness. So not waiting for these huge moments in life to be the biggest, happiest moment we had all year, but how do we find little moments of joy and happiness all year round? It's one that I have read multiple times and highly, highly recommend. When you visit Bookmarks, take a minute to look around the top of the store at these white posters that we have. These share the impact of the nonprofit in the last year. So you can see in 2022, because we're still doing our 2023 stats, 2,600 hours were donated by 192 volunteers. Volunteering is so close to my heart. It's one of the first ways that I met people at Bookmarks. I came to a volunteer meeting. I was sitting in the corner, like in a chair, and I remember that our executive director, Jamie Rogers Southern, looked at me and said, "Pull up a chair, you belong at the table." And that moment really changed my time at Bookmarks and my time in Winston-Salem. I joined the book club that I talked about. I started volunteering for events. I started making friends. And I know this is not an experience that's unique to me. A lot of our volunteers have moved here from other places. They are looking for something meaningful to do, a great way to meet friends. And volunteering can be everything from helping at events, greeting guests as they come in, to going to authors and schools visits. It can be helping in the office. Do you have a superpower of sewing because Daisy and Carl need mended every once in a while? There are all sorts of ways that you can get involved in Bookmarks, and that's really something that I would encourage you to check out in the links that Deb will share with you as ways to get involved. We would love to be friends with you. Right beside me is our travel section. So we have everything from travel guides from Africa to Ireland to Spain, throughout the United States. We have travel writing. We have one of my fun books from last year that was a favorite of mine. It's not my book, but it's a favorite. 100 Things to Do in Winston-Salem Before You Die. This is by Tina Firesheets. Bookmarks is in here, which we're really excited about. But we have like spending a day at Old Salem Museum and Gardens. Hang out at the art park, spend a night in an 80s themed arcade Airbnb. I didn't even know that was a thing until I read this book. So this book is here. We keep them in stock, and it's right here in travel, between travel and the Winston-Salem regional section. So it's a great way to explore our local community. Here in the regional section of Bookmarks, you're going to find a few different things. Guides to spots around our region, so hiking guides, travel guides. You're going to find books like The Enigma Affair by Charlie Lovett. So these are books by authors who are in our community. This is a great mystery, by the way. I loved it. It's a great romp through time with a librarian who is baking in her kitchen one day when she hears a gunshot go through her flour container, and all of a sudden chaos ensues. We also have this really cool book that I think is a neat way to explore Winston-Salem. This is The Great Houses and Their Stories by Margaret Smith. It's Winston-Salem's era of success from 1912 to 1940. So if you are in our local Winston-Salem, North Carolina community, we would love for you to come visit us. Come today. We are here for you. We're open 7 days a week. If you're in the wider part of the community, join us online at bookmarksnc.org. And one of the things I really love about some of our big flagship events, like Movable Feast that we talked about, like our September Festival, like some of our Murder and Margarita series, is that we ask people, where did you travel from? And people travel from all over the state, from all over the Southeast. We had somebody join us from Florida last year to meet Lisa Jewell at a Murder and Margaritas event. People come from all over the country for our festival. We are here for you. If you are making a road trip and you're traveling to visit family, or you're just traveling down the East Coast, make Winston-Salem a destination. We'd love for you to visit Winston-Salem and visit Bookmarks. You can learn more about us and Winston-Salem on our website, and we hope to see all of you very soon.
What is so great about bookmarks is that there is a place for everyone at bookmarks. So fun. And it really is. It's family. The second you hit that front door, you become family. So anyway, it's a wonderful feeling to be wanted and loved and accepted. But I don't know how many of you maybe have some of the same anxiety that I've been feeling. It's like every time you turn on the news, there are children killing children. There is upheaval throughout the world. And sometimes it can be, I don't know, a very hopeless feeling. And so we have invited a wonderful, wonderful friend. He is a champion evangelical pastor here in our area. We love him. He's a community leader. It is my joy to introduce Sir Walter Mack, Bishop Sir Walter Mack. He is the bishop at Union Baptist Church here in Winston-Salem. And he is going to share words of hope and uplifting and how we can create moments of joy. So, Bishop Mack, without further ado, the stage is yours.
All right, thank you, Deb. I'm telling you, I am enjoying this particular program of Aging Well, and I am so thankful for the information about the books, and certainly we want to do more reading. And then also my favorite restaurant anywhere. I'm so thankful for Sweet Potatoes. I love that restaurant and the personality culture there and the wonderful staff. It's just a wonderful restaurant. Thank you, Deb, for inviting me to share in this way. I do have some assistants today. I'm going to ask if they will put up the presentation. And I want to thank all of you who have joined on this day. And we hope that you would share this message to invite others on how we can have hope while living well and aging well. And certainly this is right on time because I'm celebrating a birthday on tomorrow. Come on. And I'm thankful for that. On tomorrow, actually Thursday, January the 11th, I'll be celebrating a birthday, and I'm excited about that. And so before we get started on talking about aging well, I want to thank the Union Baptist Church for helping me to stay reasonably young, and I love that church, and they give me a joy in serving them and pastoring them, and so I want to thank them for even being on the call on today, and thank Wake Forest School of Medicine for this particular vision of helping us to age well. So I'm going to open up with a video that's going to take us back into some time. All right. And so if we can now share that video and we'll go forward.
Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy. Daughter Judy. Jane, his wife.
Thank you, Tom. You may advance that. Speaking of aging, how many of you remember the Jetsons? Yes, all the Jetsons. I tell you what, the Jetsons came on the scene right around 1963 or so. They came on the scene to offset the Flintstones. And the Flintstones represented a primitive form of lifestyle. You remember when they used to pick up the car and run it with their feet, and they lived that very primitive form. They represented the past. The Jetsons came on the scene to sort of launch us into the future. And I wanted to show that video because I want you to know that as we all age, it is so important that we get a picture of our future, lest we become much like the Flintstones. It is so important for us to begin to think about our tomorrow, what our future looks like as we begin to claim and live in that which God has called us to live in. I like the way Henry Cloud put it. He said, today may be the enemy of your tomorrow. If you don't begin to think about your tomorrow today, today can be your enemy. I like the way John Legend put it when he said that the future started yesterday and most of us are already too late. Because we have not thought about what will tomorrow look like? What will the next 5 years look like? What will the next 10, 20 years look like? All right. And it's okay for us to begin to think about those matters. And then I like the way Betty Friedan put it when Betty said, aging is not lost youth, but it's a new stage for strength and opportunity. Yes, I love that. It's not lost youth, but it's a new stage, a new platform for strength and opportunity. I needed to hear that 2 days before my birthday. That it's a new stage for strength and opportunity. If you don't mind advancing that, I want you to know that in 2020, all of us were hit with a pandemic. And not only did we experience the coronavirus, but we were hit with several forms of pandemic at one time. We saw different pandemics that hit us at one time. I just want to show you some of those pandemics that we experienced and we are still experiencing as we age. Please go forward. Thank you. We are experiencing a health pandemic. I was just at the hospital the other day. I want you all to know that if we're going to continue to live healthy lives, we must continue to take care of ourselves. All right. It's nothing wrong with putting masks on again because the virus is still raging, the flu is raging, and then this respiratory virus is still there. And I understand that there are many people, even now, that are catching the flu and the virus. And so it's okay for you to do what you have to do to protect yourself and to remain healthy, all right, in doing so. So we were hit with a health pandemic where millions died from this pandemic. Please go forward. We were also hit, and what this health pandemic did reveal for us is that we're living in a culture where we're also facing disparities, health disparities, educational disparities, living wages disparity with living wages, and so this pandemic unfolded for us that there are many disparities that we are still dealing with. I love this particular picture because it breaks down the difference between equality and equity. And so equality is when everyone has a box, but everybody can't see the game. You see that? Equity is when I take my box and give it to you so you can see the game. When we share resources to make sure that everyone has equal access and equal rights to health care, to resources, to housing, etc. All right? That's equity. The reality is that some have all the boxes while some are sinking in the ground. But true liberation that's going to help us to live longer because we never consider poverty to be a health risk that can age us faster than anything. True liberation is when we come together as a team, as a community, and tear the fence down so that everybody can see the game. And so then now, this pandemic unfolded for us that we're dealing with disparities. Please advance. I want you to know that not only that, but we're dealing with the pandemic of independence. And this is why this is so important for Wake to do this for us, because understand that aging brings about a certain kind of independence and isolation. There is a fear to aging, fear of losing physical and cognitive abilities such as driving and such as bathing and managing finances and cooking. There's a fear of losing control of our lives. Did you not know that 90% of seniors want to stay in their own homes as they age? There were times when we took our mother, who just passed last year, and I'll talk more about her in just a few minutes. But there were times we would take her out of town, and after about 3 days, she was ready to get back to her own home. We would have her in nice hotels and take care of her. Didn't have to do anything, but just get up and look out at the ocean. It didn't matter how beautiful the scenery was. She wanted to get back to her home. And 90% of seniors want to be in their own space. There are only four kinds of people in the world, Rosalind Carter said before her passing. There are those who have been caregivers, there are those who are currently caregivers, and there are those who will be caregivers, and those who will need a caregiver. This, my brothers and my sisters, is something that we all have in the back of our minds as we face this whole pandemic of independence. How do we move into our future? Please advance. I want you to know that we're dealing with the pandemic of failing health, chronic health conditions. Things just sort of happen. You know, I am 56 now, and I just had a hip replacement. I played football for several years, and I've had a hip replacement. I grew up on the Bionic Man, and I loved watching Steve Austin. Y'all remember the Bionic Man? We can make him faster, stronger. And now I am the Bionic Man. Lord have mercy. But I want you to know that failing health is something that we all must prepare for in our future. We must learn to take care of ourselves, but we are made of protoplasm and tissue that eventually sickness may set in. Somebody says that the greatest wealth is health. So we must take care of your body because it's the only place we have to live. And I also found out that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not just the absence of disease and infirmity, because you can be healthy physically. But if you are worried about things that may never happen, you can make yourself sick physically. I heard a preacher once say that if you're not careful, that your physical body can begin to look like your worry. So then there's the pandemic of failing health. Please advance. Then there is the pandemic of isolation, us being alone. All right. So then one of the things that I've learned to be more sensitive to, we have a SALT ministry in place, and many of them are on this call today. And I thank God for the SALT ministry, senior adults living triumphantly. That ministry is so powerful because it merges a community where people don't have to age alone, because loneliness and isolation is a part of aging. We fear loss of friends and family members, and we look around and people that once were there, they're no longer there. That's why I hold on to the word in Hebrews 13, the fifth verse, where it says, Jesus says, I will never leave you, nor will I forsake you. And that there is no greater peace in knowing that when my mother and my father forsakes me, then the Lord shall pick me up. And I want to encourage somebody today that may be feeling lonely, feeling isolated, that the Lord is near. and he is beside us and with us and within us. And that is the comfort, the presence that we have as we age gracefully. Please advance. I want you to know that we not only deal with these issues. I'm going somewhere. If y'all just give me a few more minutes, but we're dealing with the pandemic of financial insecurity. I've worked all these years, and my grandchildren are now spending up all my money. My children are still needing loans. When are they going to grow and get out of my pocket and my pocketbook? Many seniors worry about not having enough money to live on comfortably in retirement. Many seniors have to return back to work post-pandemic because of what the crisis introduced for us as a culture. Of people aged 60 and older, 80%, that's 47 million people in this country, do not have the financial resources to cover long-term care services. That's another financial shock for those who are aging. That's also in the back of our minds. How are we going to survive? Please advance. And then we get through this whole death pandemic. Oh, Lord. Where once you begin to age, you begin to hear what John Donne talked about when he said, no man is an island entire of himself. If a man is a piece of the continent and part of the main of Claude, be washed away by the sea, Europe is less. No man's death diminishes me, so don't ask for whom the bell toll, it tolls for thee. There's a bell that's tolling, and it will toll for all of us one day. There is that bell that some of us are hearing louder and louder every day as we age. There was an old Negro song that the old church used to sing that said, my hair is getting a little silver, my eyes a little dimmer, my footsteps a little shorter. That lets me know my time is not long. There is a bell that is tolling. Some people fear not only death, but the pain of the process of dying. But I like the way Annie Lennox put it. She said, death is easy, it's living that scares me to death. It's all that we have to deal with around us that brings the stress that may lead us to an early death. So we must learn how to manage the stress, manage the anxiety. My mother used to say this. She would say, I want to go to heaven one day, but I'm not homesick. That is not just a place we want to rush to get to. So we got to learn how to maximize our time in our life while we're here. So how do we do that? Let's go forward. Let's go forward. How do we have hope, joy, and peace while aging? I'll be done in just a few minutes, and then we'll have some discussion. Aging adults must practice what we call load sharing. I was in South Africa last year, the year before last, and we were there ministering and had a great time in South Africa. And we were assigned churches to go and minister to. We went to this little church out in the rural community. And as we were out there in a rural community, out there in the field, there was this nice little church, very rustic brick building. The grass was the dirt, or the dirt was the grass. When we drove up, we went in, and there was a worship and a praise. And all of a sudden, the lights went out. And of course, we all got afraid. And those of us who were from America, I was sitting next to the pastor. I got afraid and I said, what's going on? And he said, don't worry, Pastor. It's just what we call load share. When the lights went out, we were afraid. But the people in South Africa, they did not get afraid. Let me tell you what they did. They took out their cell phones and they continued to praise their God. And I want to show you what it looked like on that night. Please advance. No electricity. They never stopped praising. They kept on praising. In the dark, they kept on moving. They kept on singing. They kept on praising. Please advance. Please advance. I want to say this to you. That's load sharing. And let me tell you what load sharing is. He said, Pastor, he said, calm down. This is just load sharing. I said, what is load sharing? He said, load sharing is simply this. We understand that when the power is out in one part of the community, it's owned in another part of the community. He says, and when it's owned over there, it's off over here. When it's off over here, it's on over there. And because we have limited power, we must share the load. Lord, have mercy. I want to say to you tonight that what we have to do as a community that's aging together, we have to learn how to share the load. You're not by yourself in this. You're not aging by yourself, but everybody you know every day is aging. And we got to share the load. Are you sharing anybody's load? Are you encouraging someone to live better, to live stronger, to live wiser? How do you shine your light in darkness? What are you doing to inspire somebody to live and to get up and to enjoy the fruit of what God has blessed us with? Do you get caught up into all of the negativity that's around us and all of the criticism that's taking place in our culture, the politics that's going on that has our nation divided? Or do you let your light shine to tell others that we must bear one another's load? Our message is simply this. It won't be dark always. No, it won't. You look around and there may be darkness, crime in every community, shooting of cops and cops shooting of citizens. There is so much happening around us, but we must learn how to share each other's load. Please advance. Please advance. I want you to know that we share load, and this was a picture of sharing the load in South Africa. We can share the load by developing weekly support village groups where we support one another. Let's start a phone support group. Let's text one another. How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Send an email of encouragement. Do a Zoom call like such where we reach out to one another and share the load. Read and listen to positive, inspirational material. Keep your mind stayed on Him and on positive things, and be determined that you're going to live. Please advance. I want you to know that my mother wrote a book called Before You Go to the Hospital, as she was sick in the hospital, and she was a nurse of some 30 plus years. When she went to the hospital, she began to give us notes about some things that should be happening in medical care that help people to sustain and survive. And she began to give these notes, and I began to write them down, and we put these in a book before her passing. And I never forget that then in this book, there's one chapter, and I'm not trying to promote this book. I just want to encourage someone. In this book, she has a chapter called I Want to Live. because the doctor came in one day and he asked her, he says, Mrs. Mack, what do you want from this journey here in the hospital? And she says, Doctor, I want to live. And from that, he began all kind of aggressive care that led to her survival of that condition and that sickness. You have to make up in your mind that you want to live, you want to survive, and you want to make it. Has she said, just make me comfortable? There's so many things that could have happened. But she said, I want to live. And I want you to know, as a result of that, we saw miracles take place. One of the miracles, if you don't mind advancing, one of the miracles that took place, they had given my mother 38 hours to live because of her determination to live. I want you to know that she went from living 38 hours to surviving 78 days later. And give me that picture. Go forward. And I want them to see this picture because miracles can happen. Doctors had given up on her and told her she only had 38 hours to live. They gave us that kind of time frame. And then that's her 78 days later. What I'm trying to tell you is simply this, that you have to make up in your mind that you want to survive, you want to live. And once you make up in your mind, it is in God's hand. God ultimately decides about your life, but you have to want to live. And so then now my encouragement to you is simply this, that be determined that every day is a blessed day. Every day is a good day. Please advance. You're in control of your destiny until the end. So in this book, she put down a way to write down all of your plans that you want, where to find important documents in the event that something happens, so that you can control your end until the end, because that was her determination. Please advance. I only have a few more minutes. I want you to know that Dr. Mendez, a pastor in this local community who pastored the Emmanuel Baptist Church for over 38 years, is now in our ministry. And a few weeks ago, he preached this message, and I'll close on this. He preached a message about hope. And in the midst of all that's happening as you age, it is so important that you hold on to hope. This particular painting by Frederick Watts depicts a woman who is sitting on top of a world. The world that she's sitting on is ravished with war, with sickness, with disease, with so many dysfunctions, poverty. She's sitting on top of the world, ravished in torn garments. She has a blindfold on that some even label this as a painting of blind hope. She has a blindfold on. She has a lyre in her hand that has one string left. When you look at the interpretation of this particular painting, it could suggest that hope is, after all that you have been through, all of the hurt, all of the pain, it is holding on to the one string that you have left. Making music with the one string you have left. Playing your song with the one string that you have left. And so then now, as I close today, as you age, never let anything happen to your hope. That there's still life and long years for you. Your hope confessions ought to be today is filled with blessings. And I open my heart to every one of them. If you don't know what to pray, if you don't know what to confess, this is a good one to start with, that today is filled with blessings. And I open my heart to every one of them. Perhaps you would like to confess that I have more with my little than some have with a whole lot. That's a hope statement. Here's another one. Where others see challenges, I see opportunities. A tremendous hope statement that every problem that comes in your life is merely an opportunity. Here's another one. My every desire is still achievable. Can I tell you that you're never too old to go get your dream? There are some that's running for the president of the United States of America at 80 plus years old. And let me tell you something. It's all about what you desire to do. So then hope says this: count your age by your friends and not your years. Count your life by your smiles and not your tears. Thank you, John Lennon. And as I close, I want you to hold on to hope. Doesn't matter what comes, what sickness you may have, what limbs you may lose, what tears you may cry. It's always a good time to have hope. God bless you. And I'm out of time. And I do want to give some time for question and dialogue. And thank you for sharing with us on this day. There's so much more I could have shared, but God bless you.
Well, and Bishop, we just thank you more than you can ever know for bringing those words of inspiration, and I certainly needed it, and I feel lighter because of it. And now, if anybody has questions, if they want to ask Bishop Mack anything, if y'all could go to the questions section, the chat. I am wide open to take anybody's question. And instead of raising hands, if you can ask anything you need in the chat, that is going to be the way that we can communicate. I know a couple of people have raised their hands, so we are just going to ask them to move that question over into the chat. And Bishop, I want you to know that I think you have lifted up our entire community tonight.
Bless you. Bless you.
And again, for those who have their hands raised, please move over into the chat for your question.
Okay. All right. I see one. I see hands.
I see hands, but we need them in the chat so we can get their questions answered.
I tell you, Deb, this is a great format here and great program that you have. And so God bless you for this. Yeah.
Well, we are just absolutely thrilled to have you as a major part of it. And this tells me that there is a need, there is a thirst for this information. Yeah. So some of our Q&A have been, I want to thank the Bishop, wonderful words. Another one is, thank you, Bishop Mack, for such an inspiring message. The chat, it says the chat is disabled. Well, if it is, then just go to
one in Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A is great.
Yeah, how can we support family members as they age, help them stay independent, but keep them safe? That's a great question. One of the things that I think is very important, my mother, as she got to that place, there were times when she wanted to remain very independent, and it took us having those conversations. I remember she didn't want to use a walker, and she didn't want to go to church with her walker. And so I had to share with her. I said, Mama, it's so important for you to use this walker. I said, people would rather see you come to church with a walker than for you to be in ICU, the ICU unit with a head injury. And so it was just having those constant conversations and even having people around to celebrate the new life, the new way of life. I think as we cheered her on and as we celebrated her using her walker, she later on called her walker her husband, and so when she tried to get on, I said, wait a minute, you're leaving your husband behind. We sort of made it, and my father passed in 1983, but we sort of in 82, but we sort of made it so much fun for her to age and to get to that place, and never made her feel like she was a burden to us. And so that's a part of it. They don't want to be a burden, and they don't want to feel like, I'm becoming a problem here. So you must let them know, hey, you are our loved one, you are our family, you are our mother, and we want to do for you what you did for us. And that was one of the ways that we helped her to adjust.
And I did the same thing with my mother-in-law. She had become a little frail to do a lot of walking. So we just popped her in the wheelchair and called it her extra set of wheels. And there wasn't anywhere that we let her stop from going.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Okay.
there's so many words of thanks on here. We
Yeah,
want to say thank you for such encouraging words of wisdom.
yeah.
This talk was so needed as our parents are aging. I love your mother's statement of ideas to navigate your season of healing.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
grieve
That
the
book,
loss. Oh, go
someone
ahead.
asked about the book, Deb. That book, you can find that book at sirwaltermack.com, and we'll be glad to send it to you. Or you can find it on Amazon, Word and Spirit publishers. Also, anywhere you buy books, you can get that book. And my mother has in that book Nuggets for Survival. When she went to the hospital, she made us bring a picture of her and set it in the room. She said that the medical team does not need to see you just sick. They need to see what you look like before you got sick
Mhm.
so that they can work you back to that place. And
Love it.
so it's nuggets like that in the book that she put in there after working as a nurse for 30 plus years,
Mhm.
that she sort of mentioned. So it's a great book for anyone that like to have it. We can send it and mail it to you.
Well, and Bishop, we need to get it over at Bookmarks. We need to make
Yes,
sure
yes,
they
we'll do
get
that.
it. It says
Yes, yes.
many aging individuals worry about their future and trying to assist grandchildren. What advice would you have for them?
Yes, well, it's a different culture today with grandchildren. Some of them are engaged, some of them are not. I think that the sooner that you can get grandchildren connected to the process of aging, I think they will capture it and then become more sensitized to it. Some grandchildren are totally disconnected from it and don't quite know how to be there for it. It's a different generation now. But I think the sooner that you can engage them, and don't take a long time doing that, but start them out when they're young, honoring their elders, honoring their grandparents, because the way you introduce them to their grandparents is the way that they're going to treat you when you
Mhm.
age. So I think that those are some things that we can do to help grandchildren come along and become the next generation of caregivers. All right.
And Bishop Mack, you said something so important. I love the way that you said elders instead of the elderly, because
Yes.
elderly sounds frail and feeble. Elders are the sage leaders of our
Yes.
tribe, of our world. And I think words matter. And when we refer to older adults as our treasured elders, that means something.
Yes, 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 that's right. And so I think that as we value that generation and their wisdom and knowledge and their humor, there's
Mhm.
some of the humor that they bring in, the wit, because they've seen so much and they've survived. I see one that asks about papers to get in order. Yes, in the back of the book, there is an outline that every family would need in terms of the important documents to have in order. My mother has listed when she passed, we only had to go to one location to pull up all of her major documents, all of her major insurances, all of her information about her Medicare and all of the aids that she received. We found all of that in one location. And so in that book, she did mention the importance of that, and we put an outline in the back of that book for that.
I love it.
Some feel aging. Yes, some feel that aging is fourth quarter of life. No, no, no. Don't ever forget when the game is tied, fourth quarter goes into overtime.
I love
And
it.
so then listen, yeah, your life can be spent in overtime. Listen, we have a lady by the name of Hattie Jeter, who is 100+ years old, and she is our honorary Facebook chairperson in our church. She loves social media. When you look at some of the seniors in our community who are thriving, Virginia Newell, who is 104, 5 years old, who is still thriving and know dates and times and numbers and history. So don't think that when you get to 70 that you're packing up. No, it's time to start thriving and meeting your goals and dreaming again, and let God decide when that final corner, that final quarter arrives. Okay.
I love it. I love it. And let's see. Okay. I just want to make sure we get to all the questions. Where do you get support if you are a senior that do not have family living close by and live alone?
Yeah. This is the importance of programs like senior services. All right,
Mhm.
senior service. There used to be a program at the Urban League in our community. The YMCA is excellent for community gatherings. And then always I push those churches that have those support groups. Churches are important. Church, being a part of a church is important, not just for church attendance, quote unquote, but because many churches have systems in place to catch and to check up on people who are in these kind of situations. Okay. And so it's so important that you connect with the ministry, find out what kind of care programs they have, and that community can become holistic for you. That will be that sort of family for you when you have other family members who may be in demise. So I encourage that. Find that village that'll work for you.
Also, the Shepherd Center is an amazing
Yes,
resource here in Winston. I know for
yes,
a fact I'm on their board, and they even do minor home repair to help
yes,
older adults remain in their home safely as long as possible.
yes.
Okay,
So many programs out there.
mhm. And we're lucky in a community the size of Winston-Salem, how much is out there for us. I'm just
Yes.
trying to make sure we have hit all the questions. I don't know what happened to the chat, but I'm glad we navigated around that.
Yeah, we good.
I think we
Yes,
are.
yes,
And all these words of gratitude. Deaconess Linda Butler has thanked
yes,
you.
Linda. Yes, Linda. Linda's a strong warrior. She has faced some sickness, but she's evidence of that village that I'm talking about. Linda checks on people, and she has people to check on her, and so that she's an example of that village that I'm talking about. God
You
bless you,
know,
Linda.
again, you said something else that I just love. She's a healthy aging warrior. And to
Yes,
me, the term warrior means I will not be defeated.
that's right.
I will do whatever it takes to check in and keep people going.
Yes. You know, when you go to Dubai and you go into that part of the world, um, they have the handicap signs, right? But they don't call them handicap. They don't call it the handicap parking anything. Up under the sign, it has the words "People of Determination."
I love it.
I love it because you got to see yourself as that. Do you not know that everybody on this call survived coronavirus pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
We survived it. We survived it. And we should approach that with thankfulness and with
Mm-hmm.
extreme gratitude because we have come through one of the worst pandemics this world has ever seen. And so we're still getting through it, but we have come through it. And so when you start thinking about how much God has blessed us, all right, we should be inspired and to know that He kept us alive for a reason. He
Mm-hmm.
kept us alive for a reason. And we got to find that purpose and get in touch with that purpose. Purpose is not something that you just find one time. Now it's redefined at this stage of your life. As the opening comment said, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for new strength and new challenges that we must face today. And so
And
please
find
go through that.
joy. Find joy in the smallest things. You know, you
Yes.
don't have to wait for that big thing to make you happy and to find joy.
Oh, no, that's right. Yes, that's right.
Well, Bishop, I want to be respectful of your time. I cannot thank you enough. I can tell you these are the most questions and answers from you that we've ever had. I love it. I am so grateful to you. And I can promise you, if you're willing, this won't be the last time we invite you.
Hey, anytime, Deb, okay? You're my sister. You know that.
I know.
You're my
I
sister, all
know.
right? All right.
And I
We
love
love
you
you,
dearly
okay?
for it.
I bless you,
Well,
all right?
We want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I know everyone is as lifted up as I am. Make a date, February 13th, to be right back here. We're doing it the night before Valentine's, so you still have that opportunity to have your special either Galentine or Valentine. But until we meet again, live well, age well, and I just wish nothing but the best for everyone tonight. Thank you so, so much.